When we talk about robots in the workplace, the conversation almost always goes to one place. Are they coming for our jobs? But what if that's completely the wrong question? What if, instead of seeing robots as replacements, we started seeing them as teammates? Well, today we're going to explore a powerful framework that shows exactly how to do that. So here's our game plan. First, we'll look at the two big ways companies are thinking about robots right now. Then, we're going to dive into a much smarter approach, augmentation. After that, we'll unpack the framework that makes it all work, see how it actually boosts your team's skills, and finally, find out how all this builds a competitive edge that your rivals just can't copy. All right, so at the very heart of this whole robotics debate is a fundamental choice, really. How do we view these machines? Are they a threat to our jobs? Or are they a new kind of teammate? So you've got two camps. On one side, you have the substitute view, which is basically pure automation. The goal here is pretty simple. Swap out human roles for machines to cut costs and crank up efficiency. But on the other hand, you've got the complementary view, or augmentation. And this is a totally different ballgame. The goal isn't replacement, it's collaboration. It's all about enhancing what your people can do to drive some serious innovation. The substitute view is actually pretty easy to spot in the wild. Think of those giant automated cranes at shipping ports, or that burger flipping robot that can whip up 360 burgers an hour. These are classic examples of just using tech to flat out replace a human task. And this substitution approach, it has a measurable real-world economic impact. A study actually found that for every single new robot per 1,000 workers, wages get reduced by 0.42%. It's a stark reminder that this strategy has real, tangible consequences for people. So, if the substitution model has these pretty clear downsides, what's the alternative? Well, it's a much more powerful and, frankly, more exciting idea: augmentation. See, augmentation isn't about replacing people, it's about making them better. The core idea here is to leverage the unique strengths of both humans, things like creativity and critical thinking, and robots, like insane precision and data processing, to create value together. It's a true partnership. Robotic-assisted surgery is just a perfect example of this. The robot can provide a super magnified view and make these tiny movements with a precision the human hand just can't match. But, and this is key, the surgeon is always in control, using their expertise to guide the whole procedure. The result? A way better outcome than either the human or the robot could ever achieve on their own. Okay, so how do we actually do this? How do we make this powerful collaboration happen systematically? That's where the Human Capital Robotic Integration Framework, or HCRI for short, comes in. Think of it as the operating manual for augmentation. All right, now this framework might look a little complicated at first glance, but I promise the idea behind it is simple. It shows a really clear path. It starts with how robots change your team's social dynamics. Those changes then enhance your people's skills. And better skills lead to better team performance, which ultimately builds a competitive advantage that actually lasts. So let's walk through each step. So the first piece of this puzzle is all about how the team feels. When you integrate robots the right way, they can actually improve things like team cohesion and trust. It sounds weird, but studies have shown that when a robot shows a bit of vulnerability, like even telling a bad joke, it can actually help the human team members trust each other more. Next up, let's look at how the team acts. Robots can reshape workflows to seriously improve coordination. For instance, one study found that a robot could regulate a conversation just by directing its gaze, its head, which helped make sure that everyone in the group participated more equally. Pretty cool, right? And finally, let's look at how the team thinks. Collaborating with robots can foster a much stronger learning culture. In one experiment, a robot was programmed to actually admit its own mistakes. And what happened? It made the human team members more collaborative and way more willing to learn from their own errors. So these positive changes in how teams feel, act, and think, they aren't just fuzzy, nice-to-have things. They directly enhance your most valuable asset, your people. And this leads to two really powerful outcomes. The first one is KSA amplification. That's a fancy way of saying you get more value out of the knowledge, skills, and abilities your team already has. When collaboration gets better, your people can apply their existing talents more effectively, and that leads to immediate performance gains.
The second outcome is KSA transformation. Now, this is all about growth. As your people collaborate with these advanced tools, they learn, they adapt, and they pick up entirely new skills. This doesn't just improve how things are going today, it builds the capabilities your organization is going to need to thrive tomorrow. A former leader at Spotify described it perfectly. She called it a collaborative dance, where machines help humans amplify their own abilities. That's exactly what amplification and transformation look like in the real world. So let's bring this all home. Enhanced skills and better team performance are fantastic, but how does this translate into a real, sustainable edge in the marketplace? And here's how that whole chain reaction comes together. You start with those positive team dynamics, which then lead to enhanced skills. Better skills drive better team performance, and that performance creates real value, building the foundation for a competitive advantage that can actually stick around. So why is this advantage so durable? I mean, a competitor can go out and buy the exact same robot you have. Sure, but what they can't buy is the unique trust, the communication, the collaborative routines your team has built around that robot. That's your secret sauce. This advantage is protected by three really powerful forces. First, your people develop skills that are tailored specifically to your system. Second, the value comes from this complex web of team relationships that's basically impossible to copy-paste. And finally, outsiders can't even be sure why it works so well. It's hard for them to pinpoint the exact cause of your success. So, how do you pour gasoline on this fire? The key accelerator is something called task independence. The more you design workflows where humans and robots genuinely need each other to get the job done, just like in that surgery example, the stronger all of these positive effects become. High interdependence is what fuels this entire engine. And that really brings us to the ultimate takeaway here. For any leader looking to the future, the question is no longer if you're going to use robotics, but how. Are you going to just automate tasks away? Or are you going to design a new kind of collaboration, one that amplifies the very best of what your people can do?